What's going on, fellow A-pluses? It's your boy, Adam Perez. I'm back once again, one more time for your breakdown for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, as we're set to get into the final episodes of season one here, episodes 9 and 10 that wind up wrapping up the first season earlier this week. I believe these episodes dropped on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, so a little bit late to the party, but wanted to play some catch up earlier this week for you guys. I'm sad to see this show go, honestly. After watching episode number 10, while I thought it was really great in regards to sort of setting up like little mini epilogues, if you will, in regards to what we can expect in season two and looking forward to the future, there is a part of me that's gonna miss this show. Look, we technically only got about 4 weeks of this animated series, and while there's a part of me that wants to take a step back and think to myself, like, 4 weeks of an animated show feels like, especially with the number of episodes that we did get, felt like a digestible number, especially because they're only like half an hour episodes. The idea of thinking of sitting through 10 weeks of it for what, 30-minute chunks at a time, sort of thing. I don't know. I don't know if I want to say if that would feel like a little bit of a stretch in regards to really making this series last longer. But I don't know. There's a part of me that feels the 4 week time period, especially with the way that they released the episodes, felt very appealing to me. I felt very satisfying also. But there is a part of me that really enjoyed this show so incredibly much that I really don't want to see it end. I really am looking forward to more episodes. We do know that season two is ready to go. They have greenlit a season three as well, so we're going to be getting much more adventures from it. And if you ask me, after the reception that season one wind up getting, how good it wind up continuing to get as the season progressed, I'm kind of hoping that they keep the momentum. I hope they keep the same showrunner and writing group involved, and really continue to expand their creativity and give us something fresh as we get into seasons two and three. I really do hope that they have this mindset over at Marvel Animation of allowing these animated series to run 5, 6, 7 seasons if they're received relatively well. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that there's plenty stories certainly left to go. But I gotta say, for season one, I was hella impressed, and really excited to see what the future certainly holds. But guys, let's go ahead and talk about these chunks of episodes here, as we got episodes 9 and 10. Look, I am curious to know what you guys think. I think for me going into this show, I was really eager for a lot of it. The animation never really bothered me like it did other people. And for me, as I watched the show and it progressed more and more, I continued to get more comfortable with it. It continued to solidify why I felt the way that I did about the animation style, especially when it comes to the action sequences. I thought the action sequences worked really good. I love the comic book sort of art page style that would happen from time to time, where we would get the comic book outline pages or the really cool transitions and stuff via comic book, via the look of a comic book. So it really worked for me, especially the animation for the characters. But I am curious to know what you guys felt about it now that you've had the opportunity to sit through an entire season of it. Did it grow on you? Is it something that artistically, that's more appealing to the eye than what it was before? Do you still feel some type of way about it? Like, is it the weakest link of this series for you, or is it coming together smoothly? I would be really curious to know your guys' thoughts. For me, it continued to get better and better and better, if you ask me. But I think my favorite episodes so far out of this show have been episode 7 and episode 9, the two big Scorpion episodes. They really made him feel like the most formidable villain that Spider-Man certainly had faced this entire season. Seeing Gargan just continue to get stronger and stronger, especially the second time that we see him in episode 9 with like the I don't want to say hockey mask, but with the face mask on, um, I absolutely really loved his design in here. The gamma radiation sort of fusing the scorpion skeleton to his body, the extension of his scorpion tail, the way that it worked. I loved his attitude, his very deadly, if you will, really allowed for the stakes to be raised anytime that he was on here, knowing that you were not going to make it out of this fight sort of unscathed. And I think when it comes to villains, he brought it. He really brought it. So I thought Scorpion was a brilliant villain here this season, and really made for two great episodes, if you ask me. There's just something really cool about finally getting the opportunity to see the classic Spider-Man costume in here. The red and blue with the webbing just really worked, and I love the showcase of seeing him save Nico's life in here. Just when you thought she was going to get hit by a truck and have to use her abilities to kind of stop it, the idea that the screen goes black and then when it comes back, you see Spider-Man just in his heroic pose, stopping this truck with his bare hands, saving his best friend, swinging her out of harm's way, and then seeing Spider-Man sort of get down to work in his classic costume. It was brilliant to watch. It felt like a first appearance of Spider-Man, even though we've seen him all season long, but seeing him in his classic costume just truly worked for me. I thought it was really cool. I love the boots too. It was very reminiscent to that of his MCU sort of costume, but not, a little bit more modernized. But it really worked for me, if you ask me. So really love that sequence in general. And one of the sequences I was not expecting to see was him fighting alongside Lincoln in here. The idea of Lonnie breaking into the Oscorp car or truck, I should say, and being exposed to some element that now makes him sort of indestructible. We even see at the end of episode 10, his fingerprints are starting to turn, or his fingers are starting to turn white, almost in the sense of his character Tombstone from the comic books, giving him extra strength now and sort of like this indestructible skin, if you will. I was not expecting to see him fight alongside Spider-Man, but it was an incredible team up, to say the least. I love the shot of seeing them charge towards Scorpion, and they're both ducking and dodging and getting out of the way of his attacks until they meet together with the double punch sort of thing. Visually, it was just really stunning to kind of watch on screen. And I gotta say, the smoothness of Peter when he gets into that mindset of with great power comes great respect, him not taking sort of any mess anymore. Visually, it was really cool to kind of see him nonchalantly, like just ducking to the side or curving his body to the side as Scorpion's throwing all these attacks at him, and it's not even phasing him. And Spider-Man's just literally walking this man down, webbing him up, sort of thing, before he just pummels him. I thought it was just a really great moment, and I'm glad that somebody like Lonnie was there to kind of talk him off the edge. Like I knew that that's the route that Norman Osborn was certainly trying to push Peter to do. That sense of having people respect you by not pulling your punches. But of all the characters, after everything that Lonnie Lincoln has sort of been through, the people that he's turned his back on, the schooling that he's decided to kind of give up to go ahead and join the gang, the fact that there's still a bit of Lonnie Lincoln in there, in the sense of the kid that knows better, you know what I mean, to be the one to talk him off the ledge, I thought was something, and a really great full circle moment, I thought, for Lonnie, to say the least, when it comes to him and Spider-Man. So and it was just something really cool too about finally seeing Nico and Peter finally sweep things under the rug, finally come to terms with the secrets and the lies that have certainly been told, and Nico being the bigger person to say that she's sorry and understand, and especially after seeing Peter Parker in that position of saving people's lives, right? being a hero, being selfless, the fact that she's able to pull her pride to the side a little bit and just embrace her friend after seeing everything that Peter's done for her and for the people of the city. I just thought was just really cool. Like there's just something cool about, and I've said this all season long, he's got a really great supporting cast around him, really great friends that support him, that lift him up, that help him believe in himself. And we haven't gotten to that point yet of the city being afraid of Peter, or J. Jonah Jameson calling him an enemy or a villain, right? This is still Peter trying to figure out who he is as a person and as a superhero, and to have that reassurance from one of your best friends, I thought was really cool for Peter to kind of receive, and to have somebody recognize him for the good deeds that he certainly does. So to see them embrace, to see them happy, I thought was really cool. And look, clearly Nico has her own secrets, why she got upset with Peter, despite the fact that she knows that she has her own, that I certainly won't really understand until she kind of explains it for herself. But I thought it was pretty cool that one, she clearly knows she has abilities, right? The question that I had earlier when it was her and Harry in the car and they were racing and her pendant activated, I was curious if she was aware that she had powers or not. But she fully is aware that she does. And she's now also keeping a secret. And as we see towards the end of episode 10, she clearly taps into the astral realm or the astral plane to communicate with her mom to a certain extent. So she is fully using her abilities. So how she's going to explain that to Peter when the time is right, I don't necessarily think Peter is going to react the same way that Nico certainly did. If anything, he probably will question her as to why she didn't tell him, sort of thing, especially knowing that she can trust him now with his secret identity and who he certainly is. So you would think it would be easier for Nico to kind of explain that, but certainly not. But Nico's got her own struggles that she's got to deal with, especially with her being part of a foster family. There's a lot of I'm sure a lot of rawness to who Nico is and her feelings and whatnot, and why she is the way that she is. That certainly still needs to be explored, but I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. I'm a really big fan of their relationship in general. But let's talk about Norman Osborn, shall we, man? The man really showed his true colors in both of these episodes here, whether it's to reach out to Doc Ock and just throw it in his face that at the end of the day he's the successful one, because he's the one that not only threw Otto in prison, but now has managed to own all of Otto Octavius's work, which is just trifling, man, just absolutely trifling. And it does make you wonder. I don't want to say it makes me wonder how smart Osborn truly is. Clearly he's a smart gentleman, but he clearly also is the type that has the money to pay for things that he doesn't necessarily need to even create, and then still put his name on things. You know what I mean? In the sense of having other people do his hard work, whether that be Otto doing all this work and creating all this stuff, and now his stuff is Oscorp stuff, right? Just putting a trademark on it now because Norman is so damn rich in that sense, or having interns create all these pieces to this huge machine that he winds up revealing to everybody in episodes 10 to allow them to kind of cross time and space, kind of create these big portals like Thor or Doctor Strange or whatever the case may be. Again, him not necessarily creating those things, but having other people do it for him, and then sort of pat himself on the back and take the credit for these massive achievements. So again, leave it up to these billionaires, right, to take advantage of other people's work and call it their own. But to kind of see him really throwing it back in Otto's face, it just really shows what his true personality is. I think Otto called him a man-child or something like that. It feels very fitting for him. But kudos to Coleman Domingo, who did the voice work for Norman in here. I thought he was brilliant all season long. And especially towards the final episode here, especially seeing him go to toe and arguing with somebody like Doctor Strange in here, despite Norman really being the cause for all the damage that wind up happening. But I will say this, I loved episode 10 in the sense of how it really kind of came full circle for Spider-Man's story in here, connecting episode 1 to episode 10, right? Like learning that Osborn took the blood from the fight between Spider-Man and Peter Parker and sort of injected it into the spiders in an attempt to create Spider-Man's DNA, only to come to find out that those same spiders, in the weird sort of time traveling element of episode number 10, the same monster that Norman Osborn brings forth out of that portal is the same monster that Doctor Strange winds up fighting and time travels back to Midtown, where that same very spider that Osborn technically created with Spider-Man's DNA is the same one that bit Peter Parker before he even became Spider-Man. Like, the origin story for Spider-Man in here is absolutely bananas, as it's Peter Parker's own Spider-Man DNA that winds up creating him into Spider-Man. And I just thought that was absolutely bananas. Like, when we see Doctor Strange in episode 10 and he's like, I remember you from Midtown, and he's like, I've never been to Midtown before. In my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, has that not happened yet? Is that about to happen? And then to see that whole entire crazy ass fight unfold the way that it did, to be Spider-Man's origin story, and then have them bring the fight back into present time, was just incredible to me. Just incredible to me, that episode 1, which I thought was really cool in the sense of, wow, like they really started off episode 1 with a bang, with a huge fight sequence. To kind of see that come full circle, I just think is brilliant storytelling, if you ask me, and just really innovative. I certainly was not expecting that. But what I did like is the idea that we get the symbiote now that's sort of left over here after this particular battle. Great culmination to the battle too, mind you, of seeing Doctor Strange and Spider-Man kind of work together and then Spider-Man destroy that portal, but just in time for them to close it, but still some of that symbiote certainly left behind for Norman Osborn to certainly find. So whether does he become Venom at some particular point in time? Does he become some crazy ass version of a Green Goblin? With that, I will be curious to see what season 2 holds for Norman Osborn and the symbiote that he winds up discovering here, because he's going to do some level of experimenting on it in some capacity or another. But I do love the fact that this season has taken some chances and some swings and isn't necessarily giving things to us straightforward or in original sort of comic book sense, if you will, and really flipping things on its head a little bit. So in that regards, man, props to what this show has been able to do. And I do like the fact that Doctor Strange and Peter Parker got some opportunity to hang out with each other a little bit, and Doctor Strange kind of acknowledged just how good of a hero this kid is certainly going to be at some particular point in time. There was a part of me that was thinking to myself, like, is he going to ask to join the Avengers sort of thing? But clearly we're not there yet for Spider-Man as a hero, but it is cool to kind of see him interact with other characters. And I've been a big fan of the cameos this season, whether that be Chameleon towards the end, Daredevil in here for episode 5, I thought was just really cool. We even got to see Daredevil again later on in this sort of towards the epilogue for episode 10, where he's got his crime fighting buddy Finesse, who's played by, was it Janine or Jean, I believe her name is Janine, playing sort of undercover, if you will, in Oscorp, and now to this new corporation that Harry Osborn's going to kind of be sort of putting together also. So really cool cameos. Not a lot to take away from the main story, but cool to kind of see that there are other heroes that are certainly occupying this world. And I think that they've really managed to balance things out incredibly well here. So overall, man, I really love what we wind up getting here in these last 2 episodes. I was a big fan of the epilogue sequences in here, giving us the opportunity to see other characters that we're gonna be seeing. Who knows what's gonna happen between Peter and Pearl? She finally called him Peter, although we did see also Nico kind of smile when Pearl gave her a little bit of a hug there. So who knows? Maybe we get some weird like love triangle sort of thing coming on. But if I'm not mistaken, I think they have teased the idea that in season 2, Gwen Stacy will in fact be popping up in here. So will Gwen take the attention away from Pearl? Will there be butterflies from Peter once he meets Gwen Stacy immediately? Who certainly knows? I'm trying to think some of the other epilogues that they wind up having in here. Great swinging sequence towards the end too. I think we talked a little bit about Tombstone. I did see Ned's name on Harry Osborn's list, so Ned looks like he might be joining also when it comes to season 2. Oh, and then of course the big May Parker and Richard Parker reveal, as his parents clearly are not dead in this version of Spider-Man. I'm so used to the idea of Spider-Man's parents sort of being killed at an early age, which is why he had May Parker there. For a second, I thought to myself, was if Ben Parker was still alive, and maybe the way that they were talking about him wasn't the fact that he was dead, but that he was in jail. But then when you get the opportunity to see who it is, it's actually Richard Parker, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it said R. Parker, because he says, let's talk about our son. So does Peter even know his father's in jail? Is this a secret that May's keeping from him? Yeah, I really want to know now. I really want to know. I don't believe I remember Peter making any reference to the idea that he knows somebody that's in jail and doesn't want to speak about it. Maybe I missed that at some point in time this season. If I did, let me know. But that's one hell of a swerve to reveal towards the end of this show. So again, this show continues to keep it original, keep it fresh, and really great voice acting work and really great voice, or I should say storytelling here in this season. But look, man, episodes 9 and 10, a great closeout for this show. Impressive first season, and I honestly cannot wait. Hopefully we get ourselves an announcement soon. I'm hoping by maybe San Diego Comic-Con or D23, maybe they'll let us know when we can expect a season 2, because honestly, I'm ready for more, guys. But look, at the end of the day, these are simply my A+ opinions. I want to know yours. What did you guys think about the entire season 1 as a whole? Maybe you want to talk a little bit about episodes 9 and 10. Regardless, let me know your thoughts in the comment section box below, and we'll certainly talk about them more throughout the rest of the week. But until then, do me a big favor, as always, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.